This video is for orders count. So it's a sister function to our sales count and our sales total, but this one is going to pull in the number of orders. Okay, so before I get started, the prerequisite for all of our functions and the add-on is that you've got it installed, it's activated, and you've added your subscription ID. If your ID does not save, do it in incognito mode because that means that Google is caching your current browser or the tab. So you have to do it in incognito mode. Okay. And also make sure that you've entered your seller nickname inside your Gorilla ROI account, not your Amazon store name, but this is the one that you entered into Gorilla, or you can use your Amazon seller ID. And third is going to be if you're in Europe or if you're in a Spanish speaking country, you're going to use semicolon in the formula instead of comma for English speaking countries. Okay, so let's get started. This is the final output that I want to show you. To build something like this, you're going to need a list of ASINs or SKUs on one column, as well as a table with the headers at the top here. There's two formulas that make up this table. The first one is here, as I said, it's going to pull in your ASIN. So if you don't know how to use the ASIN list formula, look that up. But I've loaded up Gorilla underscore ASIN list for this seller, test seller 2, and it pulls in all of the ASINs inside this account. I'm going to delete these formulas so that you can see it from scratch. To load the today, and I'm going to be using cell references rather than hard coding the values directly into the formula. That way, if I change anything, if I move anything, shift it to the left or the right, the formulas will keep updated and know its position. So to get the today of the number of orders sold today, it's going to be Gorilla underscore orders count. It's asking me to enter the seller ID or the nickname. This one is test seller 2. So I'm going to click that. And here's a tip. Press F4 to lock in your reference. It's the shortcut to put in the dollar signs. Okay, so if you press F4 multiple times, you're going to be able to lock in different either rows or columns. But you press it one time, it's going to lock it in, hard lock into A1, so that when you drag this formula to the right or the left or down, it's going to maintain the reference at A1. So comma to move on to the next one. For the period, like I said, I'm going to use the cell reference because I could do just inside quotation marks today and it's going to be the same thing. But I don't want that in case I may want to change my headers later. And then rather than updating all these messy formulas, I want to just be updating one cell. So I'm going to click on today. I am not going to press F4 because when I drag it, I actually want this time period to update and change from today to yesterday, same day last week, etc. Comma to move on to the next one. So marketplace, you can leave it empty and that's going to default to whatever your main marketplace is when you connect it to us. So maybe it's in Germany, maybe it's in US, maybe it's in Canada. In this case, it's a US account. So if I leave it blank and just do a comma, it's going to default to US. And now for the SKUs, it's asking me to select either the SKU or the ASIN. We use those interchangeably. So I'm going to select all of these ASINs here. I am going to do F4. Okay, so that because when I do shift it to the right or drag to the right, I don't want this big range trying to look at B2 to B16, C2 to C16, etc. And that's really all I need. I want to pull in all the pending or the shipped orders as well. So I'm just going to leave like that. It's going to load all the orders for today. And now when I drag this formula to the right, everything is going to maintain its position. So the ones where I locked in the references at A1 and the first column in A2 to 16 to maintain the ASIN, it's going to keep that. And the only thing that changes in the formula is the yesterday has now moved so that I don't have to change manually, update the formula inside here. Everything has been done. Same with last day, last week, last month, last year. And to do the static version, go into your menu, extensions, go into the add-on, manage queries. And let me reduce my face here. Move it to the, get my mugshot out of the way. Now, load, you can search for orders count orders count, and it's going to be the same thing. So for the seller ID and the nickname, I know that you can click this icon and then it's going to open up a box. Okay, and it's saying select the data range for where your seller ID or the name is entered, but instead of G2, it's in A1. So I click that. This is going to update to A1. Okay. For the period, I can select a cell reference again. So I know that this is in G1. For the marketplace, I'm going to leave it empty because it's going to default to the US. And for the SKU and the ASIN list, I know that same thing. I can click on the icon and then drag from, say, select from A2 all the way down to A16. And this is going to update. Or if you know how to do where your cell range is, you can just do A2 to A16, same thing. Okay. And just make sure that before you insert any formula into the spreadsheet, you select the cell where you want that data to be inserted. Okay, I'm going to uncheck this box because I don't need a checkbox for manual refresh. I'm going to insert, and now it's going to do its thing and load all of this data. So now you have a static data where it's not dependent on a dynamic formula, and this is going to update only at the interval that you've entered, whereas this is going to trigger a refresh every time Google likes to do its thing and refresh its dynamic formulas. So that is how to do orders count.